From gritty garage beginnings to global stages, legendary bands have always had one silent member their logo. More than just a symbol, it's a statement of identity, rebellion, and timeless culture. Welcome to Stereopedia, where today we dive deep into the evolution of iconic band logos, how they started, how they changed, and how they became immortal. This is the evolution of legendary band logos from identity to icon. Let's begin.
The evolution of legendary band logos, from identity to icon. Band logos are more than just graphic symbols, they are visual representations of identity, culture, and music history. Over decades, some of the most iconic bands in the world have crafted logos that not only define their image, but also became symbols of generations. This article explores the evolution of legendary band logos, examining how their designs reflect artistic trends, musical shifts, and branding strategies, with a focus on bands such as the Rolling Stones, the Beatles, Nirvana, Metallica, and Queen. 1. Introduction. Music meets visual art. In the world of music, branding often begins with a sound but lives on through an image. Logos provide fans with a tangible connection to the bands they love, serving as emblems on merchandise, album covers, and tattoos. Unlike corporate logos, which are usually designed with marketing in mind, band logos are born from creative expression and cultural context. As such, their evolution mirrors both the band's artistic journey and the broader aesthetics of the times. 2. The Rolling Stones, the lips and tongue that spoke volumes. The Rolling Stones' tongue and lips logo is arguably the most iconic band emblem in rock history. Unveiled in 1971, the logo was created by graphic designer John Pash, a student at the Royal College of Art in London, after Mick Jagger personally approached him. The band was looking for a symbol that captured their rebellious spirit and enduring charisma, something that reflected both their music and their persona. Inspiration and meaning. Pash drew inspiration from multiple sources. A key influence was Mick Jagger's own distinctive mouth, known for its fullness and expressive movement. Additionally, Pash was inspired by Kali, the Hindu goddess often depicted with a protruding tongue, symbolizing raw power, energy, and defiance. Rather than producing a slick, corporate logo, Pash developed an image that felt organic, edgy, and sensual. The red tongue sticking out of an open pair of lips perfectly captured the Stones' countercultural identity: defiant, cheeky, and unapologetically bold. Artistic and cultural significance. At a time when many rock bands were still using traditional serif fonts or psychedelic imagery, the Stones' logo stood out as a clean, graphic mark that was immediately recognizable and loaded with attitude. It visually echoed the themes of rebellion, sexuality, and danger that ran through their music, making it a natural fit for their brand. Over the years, the logo became a symbol of rock and roll rebellion, used not only on album covers and stage backdrops but on thousands of pieces of merchandise, from t-shirts and posters to pins and beer glasses. It also transcended music, becoming part of pop culture. Evolution and consistency. While many bands have modified their logos across decades, the Rolling Stones logo has remained remarkably consistent. It has been stylized and color-shifted, at times adapted into metallic finishes, neon outlines, and even incorporated into national flags during global tours, but its core design has never been altered. This consistency has helped build the logo's brand equity, making it instantly recognizable across generations and continents. Legacy and longevity. The logo's endurance is a testament to both its design excellence and the band's cultural staying power. In 2008, it was voted the greatest band logo of all time by Rolling Stone magazine readers. In 2020, it celebrated its 50th anniversary, having outlived countless design trends and industry changes. It stands today not only as the face of the Rolling Stones, but as a universal symbol of rock and roll attitude: wild, unfiltered, and iconic. Certainly. Here's a more detailed explanation for point 3. The Beatles: simplicity with a twist. 3. The Beatles: simplicity with a twist. While many legendary bands embraced bold or symbolic logos, the Beatles stood out with a design that was deceptively simple yet powerfully iconic. Their logo, black lettering with a distinctive drop T, in the word Beatles is a model of minimalist elegance and musical identity. The origin of the logo. The Beatles logo was commissioned in 1963 by London drum shop owner Ivor Arbiter. The band's manager, Brian Epstein, had gone to Arbiter to purchase a drum kit for Ringo Starr. When asked to paint the Beatles on the bass drum, Arbiter quickly sketched out a logo that featured a large, stylized capital B, followed by lowercase letters and a dramatically extended T that dropped below the bassline. This visual emphasis on the T subtly reinforced the rhythm of the name while also serving a practical purpose. It visually balanced the text when curved over the bass drum surface. The logo was then hand-painted on Ringo's drum by artist Eddie Stokes, and it would go on to appear in some of the most iconic images of the 20th century. Design characteristics and aesthetic choices. Simplicity. The typeface resembles a modified slab serif font. Its clean lines and bold weight reflected the band's early polished image: professional, tight, and sharp. Drop T. The elongated T is what sets the logo apart. This twist in the design adds a unique visual rhythm, subtly suggesting musicality and distinguishing the logo from other plain word marks. Monochrome. Most often presented in black and white, the logo matched the stark elegance of early Beatles suits and stage performances. It mirrored the clean, cohesive aesthetic the band embraced in its early years. Evolution and legacy. Unlike many band logos that evolved over time, the Beatles' logo remained remarkably consistent throughout the group's active years. Even as their music transformed from polished pop tunes to psychedelic experiments and avant-garde soundscapes, the logo stayed the same. This constancy gave the logo a timeless quality, allowing it to remain relevant through each of the band's musical reinventions. It's now associated with every era of the Beatles' journey from A Hard Day's Night to Abbey Road and has become one of the most reproduced and recognizable symbols in pop culture. Cultural impact and branding. Though simple, the logo has had massive cultural impact. It has appeared on countless album covers, tour merchandise, and promotional materials. Ringo's drumhead, prominently featured in performances like The Ed Sullivan Show, which introduced the Beatles to millions of Americans. Modern Beatles reissues and museum exhibits, such as those at Abbey Road Studios and the Beatles Story in Liverpool. Its minimalist elegance allowed it to transcend fashion trends, making it eternally stylish and iconic in its understatement. The Beatles logo exemplifies how subtlety and thoughtful design can result in enduring visual identity. Unlike the provocative or complex logos of other bands, the Beatles proved that restraint can be just as powerful. Their logo doesn't shout, it resonates. And like their music, it continues to be timeless, universal, and beloved across generations. 4. Nirvana, smiley face and subversion. In stark contrast to traditional band logos designed with clean lines and branding in mind, Nirvana's smiley face logo is messy, irreverent, and steeped in the anti-establishment ethos of the grunge movement. First appearing in 1991, the logo has become one of the most enduring images of alternative rock culture, recognized instantly by fans of all ages. Origins and design. The yellow smiley face with crossed-out eyes and a wavy, tongue-lolling smile made its debut on a flyer for the release party of Nirvana's seminal album Nevermind. While the exact origin remains somewhat mysterious, it's widely believed to have been drawn by Kurt Cobain himself, an artist with a penchant for doodling bizarre, provocative images. The logo consists of a distorted smiley face, suggesting intoxication or delirium. XS for eyes, a common cartoon trope symbolizing death or unconsciousness. A twisted mouth with a tongue, adding to the image's chaotic and rebellious tone. Unlike polished logos, Nirvana's felt hastily drawn, almost like graffiti, underscoring the band's rejection of mainstream aesthetics and corporate polish. Symbolism and subversive intent. Nirvana's smiley face is often interpreted as a satirical jab at consumer culture and artificial happiness. By warping a universal symbol of positivity, the smiley face, into something unsettling and ironic, the band was challenging the sanitized, upbeat imagery often used in marketing and pop culture. This aligned perfectly with grunge's broader themes: alienation, disillusionment, and authenticity. Just as their music deconstructed traditional rock tropes, their logo deconstructed commercial branding with biting irony. Some fans speculate that the smiley may have been a reference to a strip club in Seattle that used a similar design, or simply a visual metaphor for Nirvana's view of the world: amused, distorted, and darkly humorous. Cultural legacy and reproduction. Despite or because of its rough and unrefined look, the smiley face became a global symbol of 1990s rebellion. It appeared on merchandise such as t-shirts, hoodies, posters, and hats. Bootlegs and unofficial reproductions, often due to its massive popularity. Tattoos and street art, cementing its place as a counterculture icon. Ironically, the very logo that was born of anti-commercial sentiment became one of the most commercially replicated band graphics of its time. In recent years, legal battles have erupted over the logo's ownership and use, with the Nirvana estate defending it against unauthorized exploitation. These disputes highlight the tension between the logo's underground origins and its status as a mainstream branding powerhouse. Nirvana's smiley face logo is the visual embodiment of the band's philosophy and sound: raw, sarcastic, and fiercely independent. Unlike logos crafted to sell an image, Nirvana seemed to mock the idea of branding itself, and yet, in doing so, created one of the most powerful and paradoxical brand identities in rock history. It remains an icon not just of a band, but of an entire generation's disaffection, wit, and search for meaning in a manufactured world. 5. Metallica. Sharp edges, sharp sound. Few band logos capture the sonic energy of their music as perfectly as Metallica's. With its jagged, aggressive typography, the Metallica logo has become synonymous with heavy metal intensity and raw power. First introduced in the early 1980s, the logo is a reflection of the band's sound: fast, precise, and unapologetically bold. Origin and design. The original Metallica logo was designed by the band's frontman, James Hetfield, around the time of their 1983 debut album Kill 'Em All. It featured an all-uppercase, custom-drawn typeface with elongated, spiked ends on the letters M and A. These sharp tips gave the logo a blade-like appearance, perfectly embodying the thrash metal genre the band was helping to pioneer. Lettering. Angular and rigid, the font was completely unique, avoiding traditional typography to craft a symbol that felt homemade and authentic. Symmetry. The flared M and A bookend the name, giving the logo a symmetrical, balanced form, visually strong and grounded. Color scheme. Typically rendered in black or metallic hues, often on dark backgrounds, the color palette emphasized darkness and intensity. Symbolism and identity. The Metallica logo is a visual echo of the band's musical aggression. The sharp edges represent their fast-paced riffs and pounding rhythms. It also projected an uncompromising identity metal that didn't soften its image for mainstream appeal. As Metallica's sound helped define the thrash metal movement of the 1980s, the logo became a badge of identity for fans who rejected pop conventions and sought something heavier and more authentic. Evolution through the decades. The Metallica logo evolved along with the band's sound and image. Mid-1990s simplification. With the release of albums like Load, 1996, and Reload, 1997, Metallica adopted a more stripped-down version of their logo. The spiked letters were dropped in favor of a cleaner, sans-serif font, reflecting the band's more experimental and melodic direction during this period. Return to roots. By the mid-2000s, with albums like Death Magnetic, 2008, and Hardwired to Self-Destruct, 2016, the band reintroduced the original spiked logo, signaling a return to their heavier roots and pleasing longtime fans. Logo variations. Over time, Metallica also used monogram-style versions, like the stylized M logo, and embraced graphic reinterpretations on tour posters, merchandise, and special editions. Cultural and commercial impact. Metallica's logo is one of the most merchandised in rock history. It has been emblazoned on t-shirts, hats, patches, and hoodies, often reinterpreted in gothic, punk, or tribal styles. album covers, and live stage backdrops, providing a visual signature at massive international shows. Fan tattoos, often alongside artwork from their albums like Master of Puppets or Ride the Lightning. Its sharp aesthetic has even inspired parodies and homages in other media, from fashion to gaming. The Metallica logo is a masterclass in matching visual design to musical identity. Its blade-like, no-frills construction mirrors the band's sound fast, brutal, and unrelenting. And like their music, it has proven adaptable yet iconic, changing with the times without ever losing its edge. More than just a name in stylized letters, the Metallica logo has become a symbol of metal culture itself, proudly worn, replicated, and revered across decades and continents. 6. Queen. Heraldic rock royalty. Queen's band logo, known as the Queen crest, stands apart in the world of rock iconography. While most rock bands opt for bold, punchy, or rebellious logos, Queen took a different path, crafting a symbol steeped in royal imagery, mythology, and personal symbolism. Elegant and intricate, the logo reflects the band's theatrical spirit, musical sophistication, and sense of grandeur. Origin and design. The Queen logo was designed in 1973 by Freddie Mercury himself, a former art and graphic design student at Ealing Art College in London. His education and artistic flair heavily influenced the design, which draws directly from heraldic and astrological symbolism. At its core, the Queen crest is a fantastical coat of arms built around the zodiac signs of the band's four members. 2 lions represent Leo, John Deacon and Roger Taylor. A crab symbolizes Cancer, Brian May. 2 fairies stand for Virgo, Freddie Mercury. These figures are arranged around a central Q for Queen, with a royal crown placed inside it, reinforcing the band's name and regal identity. Behind all of this, a rising phoenix hovers above the crest, symbolizing rebirth, immortality, and power, a motif often associated with Freddie's love of mythology and drama. Symbolism and aesthetic. The logo draws directly from British heraldry, reflecting Queen's ambition to blend rock music with a sense of majesty and drama. This was a band that didn't just play concerts, they put on grand performances, complete with operatic vocals, layered arrangements, and regal themes. The logo visually matches that ethos. Elegance. Unlike sharp or minimalist band logos, the Queen crest is detailed, ornate, and complex, almost like a piece of fine art. Balance. The symmetrical layout creates a sense of harmony and order, paralleling the band's intricate harmonies and compositions. Identity. By including references to each band member, the crest emphasizes unity and individual contributions, a rare touch in rock iconography. Usage and evolution. The Queen crest first appeared on the back cover of their self-titled debut album Queen, 1973. It later became a mainstay across album covers, especially A Night at the Opera and A Day at the Races. Tour backdrops and stage props, contributing to the band's visual storytelling. Merchandise, from t-shirts to collectible posters and luxury box sets. While the logo has seen slight stylistic changes, sometimes appearing in monochrome, embossed forms, or simplified variants, it has remained essentially unchanged over 5 decades. Cultural significance. The Queen crest is more than just a band logo, it's a symbol of artistic ambition and identity. At a time when rock bands often leaned into raw or rebellious visuals, Queen's embrace of classic heraldry and myth set them apart as musical royalty with theatrical flair. Following Freddie Mercury's passing in 1991, the logo took on even deeper meaning for fans, becoming a visual tribute to his creative genius and the unique magic the 4 members created together. Queen's logo is a brilliant fusion of personal symbolism, classical aesthetics, and artistic vision. Designed by the band's own frontman, it reflects the fusion of rock and refinement, power and poetry that defined Queen's sound and legacy. Not just a crest, it's a visual symphony, every element composed with care, every symbol resonant with meaning. Just like their music, the Queen logo is timeless, majestic, and unmistakably iconic. 7. The role of logos in modern branding. In the digital age, A logo is far more than just a visual identifier. It is a symbol of identity, legacy, and cultural presence. For legendary bands, logos serve as a powerful extension of their brand, transcending the music itself to become emblems of lifestyle, ideology, and fandom. Visual identity in a saturated market. With today's oversaturated media landscape, recognition is crucial. A well-crafted logo acts as a visual shorthand for everything the band represents: their genre, energy, philosophy, and history. Whether it's the razor-sharp edges of Metallica's wordmark or the whimsical rebellion of Nirvana's smiley face, the logo encapsulates the band's aesthetic and emotional resonance in a single image. Modern branding relies heavily on instant recognition, especially in online spaces where content is consumed rapidly and often without audio. A logo that catches the eye immediately conveys brand familiarity, evokes nostalgia, or piques curiosity, helping bands stand out in feeds, thumbnails, and merchandise. Merchandising and commercial value. For many bands, their logo has become a lucrative asset. These symbols are not just art, they are trademarks with real commercial power. Merchandise. Logos appear on shirts, hoodies, hats, posters, vinyl sleeves, mugs, and even high-fashion collaborations. Licensing. Iconic logos are licensed to third parties for everything from video games to documentaries and clothing brands. Collectability. Logos increase the appeal and authenticity of collectors' items, limited edition releases, and anniversary sets. The success of a band's branding can sometimes outlive their active music career, with logos maintaining cultural relevance across generations and markets. Cultural symbolism and community building. Logos also serve a tribal function. They allow fans to identify themselves as part of a cultural movement. Wearing a band's logo is often more than supporting their music. It can express values, taste, or personal history. For instance, the Rolling Stones' lips and tongue might symbolize rebellion and sexual liberation. The Beatles' minimalist logo may evoke a timeless sense of unity and musical evolution. Queen's crest conveys a love for drama, artistry, and theatrical excellence. As a result, logos become embedded in fan culture, often sparking conversations, forming communities, and even inspiring tattoos and artworks. Adaptation in the digital era. Modern technology has redefined how logos are used and perceived. Social media. Logos must be adaptable for avatars, banners, and mobile-friendly formats. Streaming platforms. Visual branding, cover art, thumbnails must quickly connect with users scrolling through endless options. Augmented reality, AR, and NFTs. Bands are exploring digital collectibles and immersive branding, where logos are interactive and integrated into virtual experiences. Classic logos like those of Nirvana, Metallica, and Queen have had a balanced tradition and innovation, staying true to their original design while evolving with the demands of new platforms. In modern branding, a band's logo is not just a design, it's a legacy. It captures a band's story, embodies its sound, and resonates emotionally with its audience. Whether worn, streamed, or shared online, a powerful logo ensures that the spirit of a band lives on visually, long after the last note fades. In the end, legendary band logos are more than symbols, they are cultural signatures, forged in creativity, amplified through time, and etched into the fabric of music history. More than just design. Legendary band logos are not merely clever visuals, they are cultural artifacts. They embody the sound, spirit, and legacy of the artists they represent. As music continues to evolve across platforms and genres, these iconic emblems endure, reminding us of the powerful intersection between sight and sound. Whether emblazoned on an album, a t-shirt, or a festival stage, a great band logo tells a story, one that transcends generations.